This is an ONN report.
Good evening. I'm Doug Miller. We've all heard about identity theft, and it is serious business. But most of us feel fairly comfortable giving our personal information to our own doctor. In fact, we have to do this before we can receive medical treatment. Lately, I've heard about a term called HIPAA. I don't know much about it, but I know enough to know that I need to find out more, and I would like to share this information with you, my viewers. We're going to bring in a special guest to discuss this topic. Today we're being joined by Mr. Ronnie McCain. He's the General Manager of Security Vault here in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. McCain.
Thank you, Doug. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Would you please start out by telling us what the acronym HIPAA stands for and what it really means?
Certainly. HIPAA is an acronym that stands for Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. HIPAA was enacted in the early 2000s and further defined by the 2013 omnibus law known as HITECH, which stands for the Health Information Technology for Economical and Clinical Health Act, which did set meaningful use of electronic health records to provide for more efficient access to patient information as well as better protect the privacy of those patients.
Well, that sounds like a pretty complicated explanation and a lot of acronyms and big words. To make this a little simpler for everyone, could we just say that HIPAA deals with businesses that handle individuals' health insurance information?
Yes, absolutely, and in any organization that maintains patient records.
Oh, okay. So then my doctor, my dentist, my chiropractor, they'd all be required to comply with HIPAA?
Absolutely. Say any entity that has access to patient medical records must be in full compliance with the HIPAA HITECH law.
Well, if that's the case, what does say my doctor need to do to be HIPAA compliant?
Well, they need to protect private health information from unauthorized access for starters, maintain the hard copy paper and digital records in secure environments, and off-site storage with a fully HIPAA-compliant business associate, such as Security Vault, would be an ideal solution for them to consider as well.
Okay, so you're HIPAA compliant at Security Vault. What do you have to do at Security Vault to be that way?
Well, secure storage is the obvious action with alarm systems and cameras. However, HIPAA compliance is just so much more than the storage. It involves daily monitoring of all activities involving the handling of our patient records, including ongoing breach of security risk assessment. All vendors and visitors entering our facility in any area where patient records are stored are monitored and escorted and must complete an affidavit stating they have had no access to any of the patient records as they leave our facility. Dozens of other documents and procedures are also required and must be on file at all times and available to satisfy an audit demand from the HHS.
Well, what types of penalties are in place for failing to be HIPAA compliant, and who enforces these regulations?
The penalties range quite broadly. They can range from, say, a single exposure of a medical records or $25,000 for that incident, or several million dollars. Can include a loss of medical license, possible criminal prosecution.
Well, that sounds serious.
Yes, and the enforcement agrees with that. It's done by the Department of Justice, the Office of Civil Rights, Health of Human Services, and even the state attorneys generals, who were provided special training by the Health and Human Services.
Okay. Well, what would you say it would cost the average medical provider to use your facilities at Security Vault to become HIPAA compliant?
Well, concerning the cost, I can only speak for Security Vault service rates. But an average medical practice with, say, 2,000 patients could maintain off-site HIPAA compliant storage of their records for less than $50 a month at our facility.
Well, I hate to put you on the spot, but aren't businesses that fail to comply with HIPAA violating their patients' civil rights to save less than $50 a month?
Well, unfortunately, this can be the case. However, I don't think it's typically intentional. The good news is that protecting the privacy or civil rights of our patients is not complicated. It's very inexpensive, and in most certainly less expensive than the penalties for failure to achieve the high-tech and HIPAA compliance.
Okay, I think I understand, but I want to make sure that I've got this straight. Isn't it a fact that a patient's name, address, phone number, date of birth, and social security number would all be included in this information that could be being stored improperly?
Yes, absolutely, and that's what makes non-compliance so dangerous. You can truly violate the civil rights of a patient simply by not adhering to these laws.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time and your candor. And I also want to thank you and Security Vault for keeping your customers' information safe from identity thieves.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. It was a pleasure to be here.
Okay, that was Ron McCain, General Manager of Security Vault here in Huntsville, Alabama. You may want to contact them at the number on the screen below if you have any questions pertaining to this matter. This wraps up our report, and as always, thank you for watching ONN, and have a pleasant evening.
This has been an ONN report.